Hi, and thank you for joining us today for our pre-recorded information session on the Certificate 3 and the Certificate 4 in Sterilisation Services. This pre-recorded information session is broken down into 3 separate parts, with Part A containing information about us here at Mayfield Education, and also some information about the course or courses that you're applying for. Part B breaks down what it's like to actually work in a sterilisation department, and Part C goes over the language, literacy and numeracy assessment, or the pre-course entry assessment that you would have to complete at the end of this pre-recorded information session as part of the application process. But let's get started with a little bit of information about us here at Mayfield Education. So Mayfield Education is one of Victoria's leading staff education and training centres for the health and community services sector. Mayfield has been providing training for the health programs for over 50 years. Mayfield is run by healthcare professionals for healthcare professionals, and our courses and services equip people with the practical, work-related skills needed on their journey to becoming healthcare professionals. Mayfield is a not-for-profit, private registered training organisation, and here at Mayfield we aim to meet the individual training and assessment needs of each individual, and will adjust the learning material and assessments accordingly to meet those individual needs. Support will also be given throughout the life cycle of your time studying with us here at Mayfield to allow each individual to successfully complete their studies. All training assessment delivered here at Mayfield is done in relation to industry standards and regulations, which are updated on a regular and continual basis. The course coordinators, trainers and assessors all continue to work in their specialised fields and bring the latest resource information to the courses and to the classrooms. Now, before you start your course here at Mayfield, there are a few things that you will need to consider. The first being, do you have any learning challenges in regards to your language, literacy or numeracy skills? If so, these will need to be documented in the pre-learning checklist. This will enable us to make up an individual learning plan to suit these needs. Now, a lot of people do feel a little bit uncomfortable about mentioning any learning challenges that they may have. They may think it might be a bad thing. However, this is not the case. We need to know if there are any learning difficulties that you are currently experiencing or that you currently have, so that we can tailor make your training plan to address those needs. So please don't feel uncomfortable about mentioning any learning challenges you may have, as the more we know about you, the more we can actually tailor that individual learning plan to assist with those learning challenges. Some other considerations to obviously consider. Do you have any pre-existing injuries? If so, you may want to reconsider the choice of course and work, as the job entails a lot of strenuous and physical work and can also be mentally challenging at times. Do you understand what the job entails? Being part of the health organisation is not a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job. Shift work is usually involved, which includes early, late and night shifts. So as part of your course here at Mayfield Education, for the Cert 3 or the Cert 4 in Sterilisation Services, you are required to complete clinical placement at the end of your course. Now, there are a couple of requirements that you need to have to actually be cleared to go out on clinical placement, and they are as follows. A current Working with Children check card. If you already have one of these cards, they do last for 5 years, so please just check your expiry date on that card before you do apply for a new one. A current police check, current national police check. Now, these national police checks only last 12 months, so you may have done one previously, but it probably will be out of date by now, so you probably will have to apply for a new one upon starting with us here at Mayfield Education. Finally, the last thing that you'll need before you're cleared to go out on placements is a record of vaccinations. Now, here at Mayfield Education, on your first orientation day, we will provide you with an immunisation record and report that you can take to your GP to get tested for Hep B, tuberculosis, measles, mumps and rubella. And there's also a spot on there to detail your latest flu vaccination. You'll, like I said, simply just take that immunisation record to your GP and get them to test you against the diseases that are listed here. If for any reason during class time or whilst you're out on placement, if you are ill and you need to go home, you will need to let us know as soon as possible, and a doctor's certificate must be obtained. Also, if you have pre-existing injuries or allergies, will also need to be notified as well. Okay, so the Student Information Handbook. The Student Information Handbook is available from the Mayfield website, so you can simply go to www.mayfield.edu.au and then click on Applicant Information tab. From there, click on the Student Information Handbook and you'll be able to download that handbook in its entirety. The Student Information Handbook contains relevant information that should be read prior to commencing your chosen course. The Student Information Handbook contains information about us here at Mayfield Education and your rights and responsibilities as a student. For credit transfers and RPLs, RPL basically stands for Recognition of Prior Learning. So if you've completed study in a similar area before, you may be eligible for RPL or Recognition of Prior Learning. The same can be said for recognition of credits. So if you've completed qualifications or qualification, or units or a unit of competency that are exactly the same as within the course you are applying for, you may be eligible for a credit transfer. For more information in regards to recognition of credits and recognition of prior learning, please refer to the Student Information Handbook and our website. Moving on to recognition of current competency. So if you've been working in a field or area before but have not gained qualifications in this, you may be able to be assessed and get a recognition of current competency. Again, details for recognition of current competency, credit transfers, and RPLs are all listed on our website. Application for any of the above need to be made prior to your course actually commencing. So we'll now move on to Part B, which is basically working in healthcare and working in the sterilisation setting. So it's important to know that I guess working in healthcare can be very rewarding. It is a great environment and does provide flexibility. However, it can be physically and psychologically demanding at times. And remember, healthcare is 24/7. It's not a Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 job. We've got some contact details listed here for you. There's no need to kind of quickly grab a pen and try and write these down or memorize these details, as this pre-recorded information session will also be hosted on our website, along with the PowerPoint slides from this presentation. So you'll be able to view these upon leaving here today, leaving us here at Mayfield Education today. Simply go to the website and click on the application tab to view all these details. But again, we have the course coordinator for Sterilisation Services, their email address and phone number listed here, and the same for our student service officers as well. So a little bit of information about the course. There is some entry criteria to gain access to obviously studying with us here at Mayfield Education, and that is as follows. The ability to read, write, and communicate in English to a level required to complete the necessary duties in a sterilising department. You will also need a mobile phone and a valid current email address to be able to be contacted. You'll also need access to a computer that you can use at any time and have basic level 1 computer skills. Here at Mayfield Education, we utilize blended learning. What blended learning means is we use a mixture of in-class activities, face-to-face training, along with work at home and workplace experience. All your reading and assessment materials are online, so there's no need for big clunky textbooks, and you'll be able to access all of that stuff in the comfort of your own home from your own personal PC or on any of the computers here at Mayfield Education. So again, moving on to some more course information. For both the Cert 3 and Cert 4 in Sterilisation Services, classes are 1 day each fortnight, and there's a compulsory 80% attendance rate for all scheduled study days. 100% attendance is required for all simulated labs and practical workshops, including clinical placement. Your final simulation assessment is 2 hours long, and work placement is on 5 consecutive days, totaling 40 hours in total. So now that you've decided you want to study and you're looking to obviously join us for the Certificate 3 or 4 in Sterilisation Services, you are required to study both at home and in class. But obviously, how much? It's a little bit hard to kind of pinpoint down exactly how much study you should be doing because each individual learns at a different rate and at different progression levels. I guess the best thing is to obviously find out what your preferred learning style is, set yourself up a nice little area to study, and try and put yourself aside at least 1 to 2 hours per day just to kind of go over your course materials, assessments, and course information. Preparing to study and planning to succeed. So if you haven't studied for a while and you're finding it hard to manage time and actually get your work completed, a really good thing you can do is get yourself a diary or organizer and organize a time and space to study. A nice secluded space, no cluttered desk, where you feel comfortable and you don't feel too stressed out. Also, it'll be beneficial to enlist the support of your family and friends throughout your life cycle studying with us here at Mayfield Education, and also develop the constructive coping strategies, like removing yourself from the situation, taking deep breaths, or engaging in a hobby that you can reward yourself with after completing units, completing assessments, and completing your studies. So working in sterilisation. So when you're working in a sterilisation department, you will be required to wear surgical scrub, and for some activities you will be required to wear PPE or personal protective equipment. Work placement. So as we talked about, as part of your Cert 3 or Cert 4, clinical placement is a requirement for both certificates. Clinical placement is organised by Mayfield Education. For those that are currently working in the sterilisation area, you may be able to do placement within your current workplace, but that would need to be organised and agreed upon on a case-by-case basis. Students need to complete up to 48 hours of voluntary work on day shifts, and shifts may either be 10 or 8 hours in duration. Placement is organised towards the end of your course by the placement coordinator, and you are encouraged to seek employment before the course finishes if you would like to. Now we'll just kind of go over some of the different career pathways that are available to you. For those of you who like a challenge, there are further opportunities for you to study with us here at Mayfield in your chosen career pathway. At Mayfield, we can offer a Certificate 3 or Certificate 4 in Operating Theatre Technician or a Diploma in Nursing. There are also a number of short courses that will enhance these certificates, for example, infection control. Please contact Student Services Reception or visit our website for more details on these different career pathways and other further courses we do offer here. So now we're just going to move on to some frequently asked questions. The first one and the most common one is, how long does it take to complete the course? So basically you're enrolled in the course for a 12-month period, but sometimes people can complete the course a little bit earlier on that, depending on how they've paced themselves and how quickly they're getting through their assessments, but we usually say between 9 to 12 months. Where can you look for employment? It's a very interesting question. There's a lot of different places you can look to seek employment in a sterilisation department when you're nearing the end of completing your course with us here at Mayfield. And they are as follows: newspapers, websites such as Seek, or you can actually check the organisation's website. So big hospitals that fall within like a healthcare group, like the Ramsay Group, Eastern Health, Epworth Health, a lot of them do organise and do, put their job ads on their own internal websites. So it's also good to check websites of all hospitals and different health groups to see if there's any job openings available that way as well. The big question for how much do you have to pay for the course? Please ask Student Services, as the fee does differ between the Cert 3 and the Cert 4. Please ask Student Services for more detailed information in regards to how do you pay and how much you have to pay. Our Student Services desk can be located behind reception at the little glass window. What are the career pathways? So basically after completing the courses and working in the sterilisation department, you could move on to sterilisation department team leader or supervisor or manager of a sterilisation department. A lot of people ask how hard the course is. The course is not hard. We do supply you with obviously support throughout the course, the whole life cycle of the course, but obviously you do need to be motivated. You do need to be willing to put in the hard work to actually get some study done and get your assessments completed on time. One of the biggest things that people do suffer with in regards to the course, and while they may think it is hard, it comes down to time management. Once you can time manage yourself a lot better, set yourself out specific times for getting study done, getting assessments done, you'll find that the difficulty of the course will subside as you're having more time to be able to actually study, understand the concepts, and then produce your assessments. We'll now move on really briefly to what the pay awards are for an instrument technician. So do keep in mind that different hospitals will pay different award wages. The best thing that I would say is to basically go to the Australian Fair Work website and look for instrument technician to see what the hourly rate is. But like I said, do keep in mind that some hospitals will pay more than the award rate to get better candidates in. Okay, so basically we're just going to quickly go over the pre-course information and entry assessment process. So the whole, kind of structure for today is broken down into 4 parts. We had the information session, which is this presentation you're currently listening to now. After this, we have a pre-course assessment, which is completed online that you'll have to do. Simply go up and see reception and student services after completing this video to let them know that you would like to start the pre-course assessment. A link to the online exam will be sent to your email browser. Simply access your email account and click on the pre-course assessment link to start the actual pre-course assessment. Once you've completed that pre-course assessment, you will then have a one-on-one interview with the course coordinator. And then following that with the course coordinator, you'll go over a pre-training review checklist. What happens after today? You'll be contacted by email of the results of your application and LLN assessment. If successful, you will be provided with a letter of offer from Student Services. You will need to read the Student Information Handbook online, and you'll need to respond to the letter, sign and accept this, and send it back to our Student Services team. You'll also need to make a fee payment according to the invoice prior to commencement to actually start studying with us here at Mayfield Education. Well, thank you for attending our pre-recorded information session today. As I've said, if you'd like to actually now start the pre-course entry exam, please go up and see our administration staff or our Student Services team and advise them that you would like to complete the exam. Best of luck, and again, thank you for joining us today.